Hi, it's Belinda and Lee, because Lee's filming me today, from Chateau Mareuil.
I'm back here. I'm right behind you.
So, yesterday you will have seen us in the potager. That's our kitchen garden here at the Chateau, where we're very fortunate. We've got lots of fruit growing, and we will soon have lots of vegetables growing as well. And what we did yesterday was to pretty much pick all of the rhubarb that we had in the patch. And today I'm going to show you what I'm doing with the rhubarb. I've done a bit already, but I'm going to show you a couple of recipes today, which I hope you'll like. It's a really beautiful day today. It's lovely weather outside. The Chateau, however, we're in the Chateau kitchen, is a perfect place to cook. I've got a cardigan on, it's that cool in here, whereas outside it's shorts and sunbathing weather. But last night we had a terrific storm. I think it woke you up, Lee, didn't it? Certainly.
Yeah, it's horrendous.
And this morning I just saw these poor things, these poor iris, just all beaten down to the ground. And in the spirit of me not being able to waste anything, I've just cut them and popped them in this pretty vase. So there we are. They've got a new lease of life in the Chateau kitchen. So the first thing I did, and anybody who knows me will know it's the first thing I would do, I made some jam. I've got an awful lot of jam. Anyway, that's another story. So I've made rhubarb and ginger. I've got 3 pots of it here. Once again, apologies, they're becoming a bit of an obsession, my little
What is it with these woolly hats?
Well, you know, the jars aren't very pretty like that, are they? I mean, that's an old pickle jar. So with that on, it's got a whole new life, don't you think? So I'm just going to finish the labels for those. I've just got one more to write, actually. So what I did, I obviously used some rhubarb, about 1 kilo of rhubarb actually, and I had some stem ginger in a jar, and I've used some of that as well, and obviously some jam sugar, and I've made some lovely jam. So then I had to think about what to make with rhubarb, and I wanted to make something I've not made before. And the recipe that got the thumbs up from Lee was, you won't be surprised, a rhubarb sorbet with gin.
Did you say gin, Belinda?
I did say gin.
Oh, and so there it is.
We have used gin. Now, it was a full bottle, so you can see I haven't used very much gin, Lee.
That's quite good, because
Yeah.
there's more to drink.
That was 4 tablespoons. So that is, what, 60 centilitres. What's that? Is that a couple of shots? I can't even remember.
I don't know.
Anyway.
It's a mouthful, Belinda, that's what it is.
It didn't take very much. So what I've made...
Can I just interrupt you for a
yes,
minute?
You may.
I've got the perfect accompaniment there for that.
So
nice.
We'll move that aside for later. I'm just going to...
For later?
For later.
We're not going to have one now?
Certainly not now. So what I've made for the sorbet is a sweetened puree, and it really is quite a sweet puree. Now, just looking at how much was
Belinda, should I just move that gin out of your way?
Yeah, please move the gin out of the way.
I'll just put it over here by me.
That's very kind of you. It's very helpful, Lee. You're very helpful indeed. Okay, so that was 400 grams of rhubarb and 190 grams of caster sugar, and the juice of 1 lemon and 4 tablespoons of gin. Cooked it down very, very soft, and chilled it down, and then in the food processor, very, very smooth, and then in the fridge for at least an hour. So that's a very, very cold puree.
Can we have a look in that? Let's have a look. Oh yeah.
So the next thing I'm going to do, and this might be hysterical, is I'm going to use my ice cream maker. Now,
a very expensive ice cream maker, and I've never ever seen that work.
Precisely. So that's precisely the reason you haven't seen me precisely use this very much before. So in fact, I bought this when you were away. This was at some point last year, and you were away on a trip. And I was a bit bored and fed up, and I thought, I know what I'll do. I'll buy an ice cream maker just for fun. And I used it, I think, twice and got tired of it. And it's so typical with gadgets, isn't it? So I thought, no, I'm going to use it. This is crazy. It cost me about €50. So, you know, it's quite an expensive
Well, I have to say, for anyone that's watching this film, whenever I go away on a trip, when I get back, there's always a new gadget, and it emerges months later.
Anyway,
it emerges months later, Belinda, and you
that.
say,
So
"Oh, I've had that for months, and I've never seen it before."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So how much was that then?
About €50. So I have used it.
It's never used.
But well, I've forgotten how to use it, and that's the problem. So I've actually got the instruction booklet here because I really can't remember. So we're going to have to go through this together. The first thing I've got to do is get the cold inner bowl. I've got it in a freezer bag over here, Lee. This was in the freezer. This has been in the freezer about a day, actually. Well, ever since I decided I was going to do the blooming cold. And that's been in the freezer for a long, long time. So apparently that goes in here like that.
Can I just see what's inside that?
It's just a stainless steel empty cold bowl, and this is a sort of collar. I think that goes on. Does that look like it goes on like that? And then this is meant to go in here. You don't put the ingredients in it. It's got a paddle, you see, which I've clipped into place in the motor. That's the motor, and I've clipped the paddle in, and I'm going to pop that in like that. That doesn't look right, does it?
I bet that was more than 50 quid's worth.
Well, as you can see, I've desperately needed some technical help.
Because you got me instead.
Lee's doing his best.
Look, I've broken it already.
And he's breaking my ice cream maker.
So,
we might be a while.
hold on, it says...
What does it say,
Hold on,
Lee?
it says... Nehmen Sie die inneren Schluss aus
German instructions.
dem Göfferisch Klopstebunge.
And you can speak German, and you're messing around now.
Blue Peter tradition. In true Blue Peter tradition.
Here's one I made
Here's
earlier.
one we made earlier.
And honestly, this
All
has taken
fixed
us
up
ages.
now.
So what I'm going to do, it's whirring around the machine. I'm going to put the puree while the machine's running without trying to make a mess. This is really fiddly. And this is probably why I haven't used this thing, because the mixture's going all over the place. Anyway, I probably should have my famous funnel, shouldn't I, Lee?
Yeah, where's your famous funnel?
But the famous funnel.
Another very
no.
expensive kitchen gadget
that funnel.
that made an appearance after I returned from
That
a
funnel.
business trip.
Oh, do you know what? This is freezing already. Quick, get this in.
Just scrape it in quick.
I know.
This is like Mr. Pastry. Quick, get it in there.
I'm so frightened of making a mess.
Quick, don't worry about it. Just blodge it in.
So at the end of this film, I hope you're going to be interested. I've actually worked out how much everything's cost me. So if we worked on the basis that the rhubarb's free, depends how you interpret the word free. It's certainly not free. It needs water, it needs sunlight, it needs a lot of love and care. Actually, not too much for rhubarb. But I will give you the prices at the end, and I think you'll be amazed. But what I'm going to do now, while the ice cream's whirring around, and it's already turning into sorbet, which is really exciting.
That's a lovely gadget you've got there.
It's good, actually,
I'm really liking that.
I'm going to make a rhubarb tart tatin. I've got about I think it's 200 grams of rhubarb. I'm just going to check it. I eyeball a lot of ingredients. It's just over 200 grams. To me, it looks about right to fit into this pan, and this is what I'm going to make the tart tatin in.
Is that all that's left of all that stuff we picked yesterday?
Yeah, and I picked a bit more as well, actually. I pretty much picked everything there was, Lee, in the end, because I just thought while I'm cooking rhubarb, I might as well cook rhubarb, which is why I made the jam in the end, because I had enough. Right. But this, oh my God, it's so heavy. This pan I bought specifically to make tart tatin. I make them quite a lot. Typically make them with apples and apricots in season. I've made them with figs. I've made savoury tart tatin with red onion, tomatoes, beetroots. They're delicious. And this is really a skillet pan. It's very heavy duty, and you can put this from the hob straight into the oven. So I've been looking quite a while for one of these. And do you remember, Lee, when we were back in England over Christmas?
This was one of the rare occasions that I was actually with you when you bought some kitchen stuff.
We were actually over for about a month in the end, weren't we? And we tend to go a bit shopping mad when we're over. But we found this range of skillets, and they were at a fantastic price. So look, we ended up buying all of these. Look at this baby one. Isn't that lovely? So these are brilliant for all sorts of things, but I mean, it's obviously tart tatin, but very good for cooking meat. So steaks, for example.
I don't think I've ever seen you use those ones.
I have. I've actually used that one the other night to cook a couple of steaks on. That's misty.
Get down, Shep.
So literally, you can cook your steaks, get a nice caramelisation on either side. It's probably better to do it in that pan actually. And then you can just finish them off in the oven.
Belinda, how's that sorbet coming on?
It's actually doing quite well.
Can I have a look?
Yeah,
Can I have a look in there?
Come and have a look. Come and show everyone.
Get your noggin
I mean,
out of the
the
way.
good thing is you can actually see the progress of the sorbet while it's cooling.
I can't see anything happening in there. I can see the paddle wet.
Well, I can see the sorbet. It's getting thicker. Anyway, trust me. So the next thing I'm going to do is just cut the rhubarb. You could be really fancy with this if you wanted to and make a pattern. I think I'm just going to be happy enough that it fits the pan, to be honest. So I'm just going to cut a few. It's wise to do this before you make any sort of the caramel, because you're getting a terrible sticky mess if you try and fit the rhubarb in when the caramel's already made. That's not a good idea at all. This is going quite well.
How long before the gin sorbet's ready, Belinda?
The gin sorbet, which really doesn't taste very much like gin at all, Lee.
It will when I've finished with the
I
bottle
reckon it's
on
got
it.
another 10 minutes or so. That was just about the right amount of rhubarb, actually. And honestly, I did eyeball that. I pretty much guessed it. So it was just over 200 grams. You know, 250 grams might have been better, but I was just using up what I had, basically. Again, great idea. Fit it into the pan before you make the caramel, but that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take the rhubarb out now. I'm not going to worry too much about that pattern. I'll fit it back in again when the caramel's cooked. So there's two ways you can make a caramel for this tart tatin, but today I'm going to work on the easier one, because for me the more complicated one is cooking the sugar, melting the sugar first until it becomes brown and very, very, very hot, and then putting the butter in and making a caramel. But I'm actually going to take the easy route today because I'm a bit nervous of getting it all wrong on the camera and burning myself. So I'm going to put the butter in first, melt the butter, and then put the sugar in. So that's what I'm going to do next. So I've got 50 grams of butter that I'm going to melt over a really gentle heat. I'm going to turn that right down. It's a nice gas hob, this one. Turn that right down. So yeah, 50 grams of butter, which I'm going to gently melt in the skillet. This is actually part of an Arga range cooker, and I'm working on the electric mod. Well, electric, it's a gas hob. The oven's electric. It's called an electric module. So the Arga itself is an electric Arga, but we only have that on in the winter because it's ferociously hot. It's warm in here, isn't it, Lee, when the Arga's on?
It's also extremely expensive to run.
Exactly. So that's a winter luxury for us.
But another purchase that appeared.
It did not appear. It was already here.
This one was here, but
don't make it
we've
all
got
up.
one in England.
Yeah, but that one was
That
bought
appeared.
for me as
I
a
could have
special.
bought a really good second-hand car for that.
Yeah, but you can't have a second-hand wife, can you? So I'm going to add the sugar now. This is 100 grams of sugar. So this is just going in. This is not. I'm not going to stir this. I'm just going to try and leave this to do its own caramelisation in the pan. So wish me luck. I'm going to turn it down very low and not stir it with a wooden spoon. So
Why not you stir
because
it?
it'll disturb the caramelisation process of it, basically. Because what you want is for the sugar and butter just to work together gently without being messed up and mixed up. That's a very scientific way of explaining something I don't quite understand. So I'm going to put the rhubarb in. This is meant to look pretty, but I think it's just going to have to go in as it is now. This is Belinda starting off with very good intentions of how gorgeous it's going to look, and then panicking because the caramel's burning really quickly. It's cooking really quickly in there. Woohoo! Hold on a minute.
Hurry up, Belinda.
Down nice and low. It says to cook this gently for about another 10 minutes, but I think it might be burnt to bits by then. What do you think? Oh my goodness.
Would that be then a brulee?
It could be more than a brulee. It would be inedible. I think I might put it on the gentler hob, actually. Let me turn that one off. So slight panic over. I've actually changed the hob to, I'm hoping, is slightly gentler than the other one, although it's a bit ferocious. Hold on a minute, just try and turn it down. Ooh, turn it down a bit. But the fruit is beginning to release its juices. So my fear of it being a totally burnt disaster is slightly past now, and I think we're going to get some nice caramelisation of this fruit. Just needs to soften up really for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just needs to be meltingly soft basically. This doesn't have very long in the oven. This has about 20 minutes in the oven. So really most of the cooking needs to be done in the pan on the hob. This is done now. It's soft enough. These aren't very thick sticks of rhubarb, so it didn't take that long. So I'm going to very, very, very carefully, this is so heavy and so hot, I'm going to bring it over here very, very carefully. The dog's in the way. Right, and pop it there for a minute. And just need to leave that to cool for a little while because, as I've said, it's ferociously hot and I don't need to burn myself today.
Misty,
So
Misty.
that sorbet maker, Lee, has just stopped.
Yeah, I think I switched it off because it started to rotate on its own and it twisted
Do you
the
know,
cable around.
it's nearly done. I'm just going to...
Lift it out and have a look. Let's have a look.
I don't want the pad. I think the paddle's going to come off if I do that. Let me. I tell you what I'll do. I'll get a spoon.
As you can tell, we have a rather unusual kitchen style. It's unique.
Do you want to taste it?
No, go on, you have it. Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
That's delicious.
Oh, good. Now I'll have a bit then.
Not with that spoon you got. So do you know what? I'm just going to give that another couple of minutes, and I think that's going to be ready. It's really, it's, you know what it's doing? It's clumping around that paddle, which is why it's beginning to turn itself round and round. Because the sorbet is taking control of the machine rather than the other way around, if you know what I mean.
The sorbet's taking control.
Anyway, talking of taking control, the next thing I'm going to do is...
We're held hostage to a sorbet.
Demonstrate how to put the pastry lids on top of the tarts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to carefully place the round of the round of pastry.
Hang on.
Talk amongst yourselves.
The fun's not
seriously.
over yet, folks.
No, seriously, talk amongst yourselves. Oh my goodness me. Sit with me, stay with me, work with me here.
I'm loving this.
There we are. It'll be fine, I promise you.
Yeah, it will.
Absolutely
I know what you're
fine.
like. It's
You
going to
know
be good
me.
in the end.
It'll end
Yeah.
up lovely in the end. There we are. I just pop the puff pastry on top. And do you know what? Who cares if a bit of the lovely caramel syrup does seep through? It'll just make it all the more delicious. I'm now going to put that in a hot oven. So I've just put the tarts in a hot oven, about 200 degrees, 180 fan. That's just gone in for about 20-25 minutes. I'll look at it after 20. So in the meanwhile, I'm going to see what's happened to my sorbet. That's if I can get it open.
This I've got to say.
But I can't literally look. Oh, hold on a minute. Oh!
Oh,
I haven't broken it.
the paddle's stuck.
But actually, let me put that over there. Look. Do you want to try some?
I'm not going to tell you what that looks like
Do you
to
want
me.
to try some?
Yes, please. I would like to try
This looks
some.
amazing. Look.
Spoon it in there, eh? That's great.
Oh, this looks fabulous.
Oh, I'll have mine neat with tonic,
Do you know,
actually.
I'm going to film you eating that. I've served Lee a very small portion in a very pretty glass of my rhubarb and gin sorbet. This is a first for me. I've not made it before, and Lee's going to tell you what he thinks. Oh, come on, say something. That's mean. Seriously.
Oh, it's really nice. It is really genuinely nice. I
Really?
can't taste the gin in it.
No, it's meant to give it a very delicate enhancement rather
Another
than.
bit.
But do you know what? No, do eat it. But because I could now it's in. You've got to finish it now. But you know the colour. I mean, you were joking about the colour just now, but actually, I think it's a lovely natural colour. You could, if you really wanted to, you could add a natural food colour.
That's a better shot for the
But,
colour because it looked brown. It looked
does.
really dark brown.
But you know, I like that colour. And how
Well, it's got
pretty would that be? You know, with some mint or something delicious. Ooh.
He took that lid off.
Imagine sitting outside, Lee, on the back terrace. Don't stop laughing. Eat and stop laughing. sitting on the back terrace in the morning sun, having a refreshing sorbet. Delicious. So with all the licking and tasting and scraping out the bowl, and Lee having a small portion, that's made that tub load there. That I think that's plenty for 4 people. Delicious. I'm going to pop that in the freezer for another occasion. Sorry, Lee, I've had to take your champagne cooling jacket
nice,
out to make room for the.
Well, how am I going to keep the fish cold then?
I don't know, just have to drink it fast. It's not normally a problem. Right.
Thank you very much.
While the tart tatin is cooking in the oven, I just wanted to talk about another rhubarb recipe. You must think I'm obsessed with rhubarb. But
yeah, just a bit.
There's quite a lot here, and it's going to grow again quickly. So I just want to talk you through another recipe idea. So what I make a lot of here, I sort of call them sort of rhubarb crumbles, really. French visitors absolutely love them.
Yeah, they do. Really, really like them.
And I have known one visitor, Jean-Paul, who actually had 3. Do you remember at that dinner party? He had 3 of these.
And these are not small bowls. These are big.
So basically, I'll just give a bit of a demonstration. If you see what I've done in there, Lee, do you want to look in there?
What can you tell us what that is?
So basically, that's about half a kilo of rhubarb. With actually, I had a small satsuma, and I just used the juice from the satsuma and grated the rind, and about 20 grams of sugar, and just cooked it really, really gently. So it doesn't need to be too sweet or too mushy. I can't show you all the components today, but just to give you an idea. So you'd pop a couple of spoonfuls in the bottom of a pretty glass like that, and that is such a pretty glass. And then on top of that, so that's quite a big portion actually, but that's typical of me.
It looks like a rather large wine glass actually.
Yes, Lee. So on the top of that, you could put, so for example, you could put, you know, some tinned custard, literally, or custard out of, I know in the UK you can get custard in a box or a tin. You could just put a layer of custard, or you could make a syllabub with cream, or a sabayon with cream, alcohol, lemon juice, orange juice, sugar, blah, blah, blah. A layer of something creamy on top, maybe a lemon posset. And then what I typically do is make a separate crumble. So with oats, butter, sugar, flour, spread out in the oven, cooked for about 20-25 minutes, give it a bit of a turnaround so it doesn't burn around the edges. And that separate crumble will keep for ages in an airtight container. So I've typically, certainly through the season, I've always got some crumble mixture. So what I would do with that, I put a layer of maybe custard, or as I've said, a posset or a cream, a thickened cream on top of there, a sprinkling of crumble, or you could maybe put some lemon rind. Oh, delicious. And what a lovely dessert. And you can have those in the fridge all ready to go.
And if you've got 2 glasses, like I see you've got a spare one there.
Well, what I thought was,
you could have a nice
accompanying
wine with it.
Do you know what I thought? Exactly.
Oh,
dessert
this is
wine.
Getting interesting.
Dessert wine. You're giving people a very bad impression of yourself. A dessert wine, or, you know, for example, you could have a rhubarb gin or a rhubarb vodka on the side, couldn't you? With a nice sweet drink on the side with your dessert.
Nice.
Some of you might have heard me shouting joyously yesterday with my armful of rhubarb, saying free food, free food. Of course, it's not free, as I talked about earlier. We've got to look after, obviously we've got to look after our garden produce, and there's a cost to that. But I just thought it might be interesting for you to know what I've spent, in addition to the free rhubarb, on creating these dishes. So I've been doing maths this morning, getting very good at this homeschooling, and I thought you might be interested to know. So the jam, so I added a kilo of jam sugar, 1 lemon and some stem ginger, and I worked out the total cost of that in euro, about €1.30.
€1.30.
Literally.
How many pots of jam did you make with that?
3.
Those 3 there on the table?
Yeah.
So 3 pots of jam for €1.30.
Yeah, plus the rhubarb, but then the rhubarb's free, isn't it?
Yeah, and your time.
Of course.
These
crumbles, I reckon to make plenty for 6 people, and that's including a creamy topping using real cream. €1.30, 35
each.
No, for 6.
Wow,
servings.
that's really good.
6 servings. The sorbet,
€1.35 for 6 servings.
The sorbet for 4 servings, €1.50, and that was mainly the gin.
Yeah, well, we had a whole bottle of gin.
No, but the cost of the gin, I worked it out, was like 80 centimes for 4 tablespoons of gin.
Oh.
So that was the most expensive ingredient. So if you didn't use the gin, you could use something else. You know.
So how much was all of that then? The sorbet?
The sorbet, €1.50.
And how many servings could you get
4.
out of it? It's really good.
Finally, the Tart tatin, again, 4 very good servings. In fact, 6 small servings, €1.30.
Per serving or
No, for the
the
whole
whole
thing.
thing? Wow, that's really good.
I think in total, I mean, when you add it all up, I made the jam yesterday, 4 or 5 hours.
Right, so it's quite
Probably.
a lot of work. But
Well,
if
yeah,
you like doing it, though,
if you love it, as I do, it doesn't feel like work anyway. And I mean, if you look at the price, so all of that added up together in UK sterling was under £5.
that's,
Under
Hang
£5
on.
plus the rhubarb. The time has just gone. I'm hoping it's ready. I'm just going to go and check. This is going to be very, very hot, so I need to be very, very careful. Let's have a look. Oops. Oh, look at that, Lee. Looks lovely, doesn't it?
yeah.
So I'm just going to take that out. Wow, fabulous. So now for the moment of truth and bravery. I hope it's going to turn out okay.
There's only
Still
one way
very
to
hot.
find
I'm
out.
just going to loosen the edge. Looks nice that way around, actually, doesn't it? You can
I
just-
think
you
so.
can
It
use
seems
like
a
that.
shame to flip it over.
Ah, but yeah, it'll look so much better turned over. And
You
it's,
hope.
it's the dramatic moment, isn't it? So, do you think it's big
Do you
enough?
want me to help you?
It's terribly heavy. I'm a bit nervous about this, actually. Hold on.
Ready? Da, 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 da.
The rhubarb stuck.
Right, Belinda's carefully getting, scraping the rhubarb off the underside. Ah, Belinda.
Anyway,
Moving swiftly on.
I'm sure that's going to taste delicious. What I'm going to do
I
is...
think it needs a bit of rearranging.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to fetch... I'm going to fetch these. There we are.
Oh, yes.
Delicious.
Oh,
Apples
Belinda, all that hard work.
apples behave themselves lots better, guys. Hold on a minute. There we are. Don't tell me, if somebody put a slice of that in front of you, don't tell me that you'd say no.
That's it, you got it. It's looking like the back of my head. Ah, that's better. Had a little
And there's
deep
all this
back
caramel you can lick and burn your mouth with as well. So after the excitement of finishing off that rustic tart, which I'm not sure I'd serve up to guests, but I know that Lee will eat it. So just a roundup of what we've done today. So with that rhubarb, and I've calculated how much rhubarb that was. So if you had to buy that, it's about 2.5 kilos of rhubarb, just under, to make all of this. And that was the jam, that was the delicious rhubarb.
Yeah, it
gin
was nice,
sorbet,
genuinely, I
really
love that,
genuinely
yeah.
lovely.
Really nice.
About 6 of these desserts with crumbly, creamy toppings, which I haven't done yet, and the rhubarb tart tatin, and the cost for all the other bits and pieces. So the cost of the rhubarb, it was free to me, just Lee's hard work, and the cost of all the other ingredients was just under a £5 note, and I think that's really good value for money. So I hope you've enjoyed today's visit to my chateau kitchen. I've really enjoyed it. I love cooking, and I'm loving cooking and showing you what I'm doing. I've got loads and loads of ideas, and so watch what's coming up. See you soon. Thank you. Bye.